Hello, Hero of Collectors here. How's it going, everybody? Hope you all are doing fantastic. I know I am. And today we are going to be taking a look at the Yolopark AMK model kit for Optimus Prime and Scourge. So I took the dive. I decided to try these model kits out. I was going to say figures. They're technically not figures, but they are really cool looking. And I've been really debating on if I should get them. I finally caved. Got these two at the same time from Amazon. And I think we're gonna do an unboxing, build them together. I'm gonna do a speed build. Then I'm gonna give you my thoughts and overall overview of the figure, articulation segment and comparisons. And then I'll share what I think of the series because I've only gone in on these two. Am I gonna get the rest? You gotta watch to find out. So let's waste no more time. Let's get into it.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to give a little voiceover as you see me do the speed build. So I wanted to talk about the actual assembly process of these model kits. Overall, it was a pretty fun experience. Everything is laid out in the tray for you to kind of just have there. Like, don't remove anything from the tray. It will be a lot easier process if you leave it there because everything's on the right sides that it needs to be on for the limbs, specifically the arms and the legs. Uh, Actually, in particular, this Optimus Prime, I was having trouble assembling his shoulder. I just wanted to kind of mention that, but I eventually figured it out. The instruction manuals are pretty straightforward. It's a lot of visual pictures that you just kind of go by, and like I said, everything's on the right side that it needs to be. So, like, when I'm assembling this leg here, the thigh piece, the thigh cover was right with this leg. It's same with the foot. I think when we get over to Scourge, there's a couple items that are in a separate tray, but visually, when you're looking at them, you can line them up with the instruction manual and see where they're going. Uh, and you know, uh, when you actually have it assembled, everything does pretty much stay in place. Have Once I'm moving Optimus Prime around, I believe, bicep where it connects to the shoulder will start to come kind of loose. If you move pivot the feet a little too much, it'll start coming off that peg. But overall, everything stays in place really well, holds really well. It's only when you move it a lot and like really articulate the figures that you'll start to notice them start to come off of the pegs. But even then, it takes a lot to do that. Everything's very secure, and overall, it's a fun build process. I'm very used to building Lego, and that's something I really enjoy. I'm really passionate about. There was that piece actually from the separate tray that went, I believe, as like a almost like a crotch cover. But oh, and the tops of the legs and over by the ankles, those pieces were in a separate tray as well for Scourge. But yeah, again, fun process. It's very straightforward, nothing super complicated. You don't have to cut anything out. It's all laid out in tray for you to just assemble. So I highly recommend it, even if you are kind of a novice model kit builder. It's very straightforward, very simple for basically anybody to do.
Alrighty, we now have Optimus Prime and Scourge fully built up in their full robot form. And we're going to take a look at them just really quick. I'm going to pull Scourge out of here because we're going to take a look at Optimus Prime first. And for starters, of course, he looks like your very, very good looking Rise of the Beast. Ooh, there we go. Hold on. A little too bright. Rise of the Beast, Optimus Prime. He's got here. Tell you what, we're gonna look at the accessories first. So he comes with some extra hands. We've got a set of wide open hands right here. You see those like that. These fingers do not move; they are locked in place. There was like a commanding hand, and then a blaster holding hand, which he does not come with a blaster. So that is that. And of course, he has two fists. Overall, I really like this guy. He's got plenty of detail. You can see He's got lots of bright, shiny silver on him, which is nice. I think that's all painted. I don't think that's molded in that color, but you can see all that gunmetal detail there. You can see all the little bits, like he's got screws on the front forearms right there. You can see those. He's got light details on his knees, grills on his shins. The tires even move. He is just stuffed to the brim with detail. You can even see all the details on his face sculpt there, on top of his shoulders. You see all the back. He's got, it gets kind of smooth there in some of the joints, but yeah, he is fantastic. This is an amazing Optimus Prime, filled to the brim with detail. It's got some paint. I think a lot of just the silver's paint. We got some painted, like the Autobot logo and whatnot, and the paint stripe here. One thing that I do want to point out, if you can see it, you can kind of see right there, he's got an Autobot logo right there. But getting into kind of like how he actually moves, he moves pretty well. I would say my biggest complaint with him is this, and I will show you. If that would move. So you see how wobbly those legs are? He has drop down hips right here. You can kind of see in there. I have tightened these screws, but it doesn't seem to stay tight. Like I even tightened the screws here at the knees, and those have stayed tight pretty well, but the drop down hips do not. So that is one downside to this figure. The other one is that he doesn't come with his weapons, but they have remedied that with the Rhinox figure. So let's get into how he actually moves. He's got a ball at the neck and a ball at the bottom of the neck, so he can get a nice range going up and down like this. He can also go side to side and turn a full 360. The neck ball is really tight for some reason. You can go side, crunch forward, crunch back. You can even get a little bit more crunch if you pull him off of the peg for how he's assembled. So you can do that and get just a little bit more range. The shoulders, he's got an independent kind of system on the shoulder. It even has points here at this end with a silver smokestack, so he can move up. He's got a butterfly bicep. You got to move this little piece here to get full range out of the bicep. And then all his hands have the ball right there, so he can swivel and hinge and all that. He's got a waist swivel. Getting into the legs, when you want to move at the hip, you have to shift these pieces up, and then you sometimes have to pull the butt flaps out. He's got some serious butt flappage. So he can move legs forward. With the drop downs, he can get about like that. You can get it pretty high if you want it to. And then he can go out and swivel. Double jointed knees. That one catches sometimes, but it still gets the full range, so you can see that. And then he's got ankle pivot, rotation, back and forth, and then toe pivot. So he is maxed out in terms of articulation. And like I said, my only real complaint with this figure is the issues with the hips. But even then, you can see he can get into some pretty stable standing poses. There will be a photo gallery at the end of this video. You'll see that I got him to all kinds of poses. Those were never really compromised by the hips. It's just they don't always feel stable when you pick him up and try to move him. So that is Optimus Prime out of the way. And let's get into Scourge. And he is a big, shiny boy. He is nothing but gunmetal, silver, red, and I think that's about it, in all honesty. But let's go over his accessories really quickly. First up, we have this blade. This is the blade that he used to stab Bumblebee and Ape-Link in the movie. You can see on this forearm, he has a slot right there, and this just plugs right in, and it's pretty secure. It doesn't wiggle or anything. It just kind of stays in there. You can pull that out. He has an alternate face, actually. You can kind of see it there. This face plate can be pulled out, and this can be put in instead. I'll try to have a picture go in here so you can see that. And then the final accessory is an alternate piece for his claw hand right here. You can see that this can pop out of the wrist here, but there's a problem with my copy. This doesn't have the peg it's supposed to have. So I have to email Yolopark customer service and see if I can get a replacement of this, or at least the peg to put in here, because I can't put this on here. This doesn't come off. This has no other attachments. There was nothing else in the packaging, so I'm missing a piece here. But otherwise, it would just go right there, and you can put the little arms against his forearm. So that is really my only complaint with this figure, and it's not something that I can really fault the figure for. This is just crappy luck that I ended up with a copy that doesn't have the proper peg for the accessory. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and we'll do a 360, you can take a look at all the details of the figure. You can see those very beady red eyes. You can see in the back here. All kinds of detail, all kinds of painted detail on the back. It's looking really good. In fact, if we can go ahead and you see you've even got tire detail underneath there, stuff that you don't always see. All kinds of different logos on the arms and on the, I think what, no, not on the chest, but yeah, mostly on the arms. You can see the legs here, all kinds of painted detail, looking very sick. See the toes, all that. And this guy, actually, he's even got a bit of red in there for what I would assume is shocks for the vehicle mode. But yeah, this guy is very sweet. And what's awesome is Scourge does not suffer the same hip problem that Optimus Prime did. So I'm thinking that's just a Wave 1 issue, or maybe just a My Copy issue. So he is very stable. He doesn't wobble around much. He is very, very menacing. I will say these fingers are rather sharp, like especially right here, right at this knuckle. Those are really sharp. Let's see if we can get that better. That little point right there, that is very sharp. So be careful when you pose that. But yeah, so let's go over articulation. He's got double ball. So he's got ball at the head, ball at the bottom base of the neck. See, you can pivot, you can turn, do all that. It's really hard to get to, especially with the mask on, but he does have jaw articulation, so he can be screaming a bit more. You can kind of see that there. Getting into the shoulders a bit, he's got, I think, a ball plugged in here at the shoulder. You can kind of see all the detail in there that's hidden by the shoulder pad. So when you want to move this, you're going to have to put this up and then kind of put it in position, lay this back down, put that back down, and then that's, you know, it can still move freely, but this is going to get in the way, and this will run into things. But if we move that, you can see he's got a full kind of circular range. You can go up, go down, you can go forward and back. He's got a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. He's got wrist swivel for this hand. All the little claw bits can move outward that much, and they've got a hinge here so they can kind of claw together like that. On this hand, he's got articulation at all the fingers. That one has a hinge that goes side to side and up and down there for the thumb, and all of these have one where it connects to the hand. First joint, second joint, or the knuckle, I should say. But yeah, he can do fists, he can do pointing. I'll have photos where he does a lot of stuff towards the end of the video, so you can see those. So yeah, be Optimus Prime. But there's that. So he's got back and forth here at the chest, kind of side to side. And then you got a side to side. Not a lot of crunch out of the bottom, but you can see side to side there. Drop down hips so he can get a huge kick up. And then you can put those back. You can kick out. You can kick. He's got a swivel there. Now these knees are tricky. So you're going to want to pull this flap out. Pull this down. That has a hinge here. You can see how it extends there too. But then you see this piston here. That also has a hinge. So he's got just over 90 degrees there at the knee. You put those back. Then when you get to the feet, you're going to want to put this and this for, back and out of the way. He's got ankle rocker and side to side and back and forward and he's got toe pivots. So all kinds of range out of Scourge. You see him. Let's get him vanilla posed back. You can see just how well he stands. So yeah, these are very sturdy figures. Once you get them into kind of a stable pose and, kind of flat on their feet, they don't really fall over. I don't think I've had either of them really fall over the whole time I've been taking pictures and all that. They pose really well. So let's get them stable. And we'll get into a few comparisons. So let's start off with the smallest one. Here is the core class Noah from Studio Series. I think he scales pretty dang well. I think he scales even better than the Studio Series Scourge and Prime. Let's pull him away. And we'll bring in Bumblebee from Studio Series. Not too bad. I think the Yolopark will probably scale better. I don't know. I think this is way too small, but still, it's a fun B figure. And then let's bring in the buzzworthy Bumblebee Optimus Prime. So you can kind of see the color difference here. Lots of painted detail that is the same between the two. But keep in mind, this one transforms. This one doesn't. And this one has more budget to paint and detail than this one does. Like, I'm sure they have the same budget, or around about the same budget. I don't know the actual numbers, but like this one has to put it into engineering the transformation, and this one has to put it into details and paintwork. So there's that. And then we have the Studio Series Scourge, and I was originally going to get some of the DNA design upgrade kits for him, but since I now have this guy, I think I'm going to just stick with this being my super accurate Scourge, and this will just go with my Studio Series stuff because he can still transform. So you can see kind of the differences between the two. This one has to do the heavy lifting of actually transforming, where this Yolopark doesn't. But I think they are still both excellent figures. So yeah, kind of my final verdict with these guys. They are fantastic figures. I've never really had model kits before. These are kind of a venture into them. I know these aren't full model kits like you would find for like Gundam figures, but these still went together very well. They're very well designed, painted. They came with great accessories, despite the few qualms I have with the blaster on Scourge not having the right peg. But otherwise, these are fantastic. And Prime, I'll get the Rise of the Beast Rhinox at some point, so he'll have his blasters, and I'll revisit that figure when that comes time. And with Scourge, I think he is just all decked out. The only thing I could probably ask for is in a future release we get another hand to go on the left side, because I don't always want him to have a claw or a blaster. I do like him when he's kind of neutral. I'm not always one for that asymmetrical look, but I do enjoy when I have the options to have, the blasters and the hands and whatnot. So it would just be nice to get in the future. But yeah, so those are just my final thoughts. I think I am all in on this line. I have another Yolopark Transformer ordered. He'll be here, I think, the week that I'm recording this, so fingers crossed that he actually does. Tracking says he'll be here soon, so hopefully I can take a look at that one for you guys as well. If you enjoyed this, please do let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, I will check back in with you all in another post, another video, another time.